Welcome back to Fresh Outlook. It is time to take a quick look at some of the issues that made the week. We will do that with our Ebru think tank, Jacquie Guzda of Western Connecticut University, Jose Lopez of Seton Hall University, and Dr. Jacquie Fulop-Goodling, a orthodontist who is non-surgical.
I'm a surgical orthodontist, and I own a med spa that we try to do everything non-invasively.
See, I knew you would say that better than I. Let me ask you about J-Law, Jennifer Lawrence.
Yes.
She was the subject of a huge breach of her personal security when nude photographs surfaced all over the internet. Now she's saying she will never tweet again. Do you tweet? What do you think about her pledge not to tweet anymore?
We do tweet because it's great for patients to follow us, and it makes it interactive, and it tells a little bit about the personality of who we are in our office. As far as Jennifer Lawrence, she's a high-profile celebrity, so for her to have that invasion of privacy, I can understand her stepping back a little bit right now.
Okay.
It's expected.
Jacquie, media analyst, what do you think of J-Law's pledge to not tweet?
I think that Jackie's right, that what you should do is tweet, you should LinkedIn, you should Facebook for business purposes.
Exactly.
We've gone to the point where we're letting too much of our personal information out there, and it's coming back to bite us, just like it happened to J-Law.
Well, I can tell you as a person in the media, often casting people will want to know that you have a huge social media presence, because that's part of it. If you can bring 10,000 followers, that means something, or 100,000 or 1.5 million. Jose, you're a tweeter?
I'm not a tweeter at all, actually. Too busy thinking about too many things to write them down.
I have these deep thoughts. I can't do it in 140 characters.
But Jennifer Lawrence, to her credit, power to her. I mean, I agree with her. She was on Colbert this week, and he said to her as a joke, he says, you've done everything at 24, so you should just phone it in. And literally she can. She's that talented. If she doesn't want to tweet and talk about anything she's doing, it's her prerogative. Freedom of speech.
I actually like celebrities who are underexposed.
I agree.
I like the mystery. I don't want them to sit down for a half an hour with Barbara Walters. I don't care.
Right.
I want to build in my head what they are. But anyway, let's turn to our next topic. Arkansas Governor Mike Beebe pardoned his son for apparently a felony charge of marijuana, drug possession, sale, use, something along those lines, about a decade ago. He pardoned his son. It sounds bad. Have you followed this case at all, Jacquie? What are your thoughts? Or what do you think of a public official pardoning his or her own son?
Yeah, especially now with all the marijuana and having my practice and living in New York City, marijuana is a hot button topic. But to be able to pardon your son, it depends on where they are, how much marijuana they have. The flip side is, you know what, if we legalize marijuana, there would be less cartels and distribution elsewhere coming into the country, and it may be a little bit safer. I don't think that he should pardon his son unless everybody is allowed to do that within that area. So if you're in a state and that if you pardon your son, you should be able to pardon your neighbor's son too.
He's granted 700 pardons in his own defense.
Yeah.
Jacquie Guzda, what are your thoughts?
I think that every single marijuana charge should be thrown out. It's something that we should no longer prosecute people for. However, he should have recused himself on this one. You do not pardon your own flesh and blood.
Correct.
If not improper, it gives a sense of impropriety, which is what public officials should avoid. Jose Lopez.
But let's not forget, he was the attorney general that was in the office that prosecuted his own son.
Right.
And this kid was, his son was 23, 24 at the time. He did a bonehead thing. He had marijuana possession and intent to sell. And I mean, it's a decade later. The kid's 34, 35 years old. He's not a kid anymore. Right. So, I mean, I believe in giving people fresh starts and a second chance. I mean, that's what America's about.
I agree, but unfortunately, it's the sons of governors who get the second chances and fresh starts. And,
but 700 other people have been.
That's true. That's true. And
it's not this one guy only.
It isn't just this one case.
Correct.
Absolutely.
Everyone should have a fresh start.
To our next topic, Jose, I'm going to start with you on this: the comet landing. Why do we care about this? It doesn't sound like a big deal.
What do you mean? This is exciting.
Yeah.
It took 10 years to get to this comet, and this is the European Space Agency, which never gets any press. It's always NASA, the Russians, and lately the Chinese. They took a mission that took 10 years, 500 million kilometers, or over 300 million miles. It got there, and with almost perfect precision, they were able to land on this comet, a probe that is now trying to figure out what the composition of the comet is and trying to figure out big questions like, where did water come from? Did water make it to Earth from comets? Where did life come from? I mean, these are fundamental questions that they're doing. I mean, this is exciting. I mean, this is one of the greatest things we've done in space exploration in a long time.
And Jackie, are the Europeans doing this because the Americans have thrown up their hands and mothballed the shuttle and basically disemboweled our space program?
No, I can't read into their motivation, but it is, this is one of the coolest things that's come across the news in a long time. I mean, the last time we were talking about comets was when that cult was trying to, kill themselves and go and get on the comet.
And Jackie and Logan, NASA was involved. So this was an international mission of the Russian space program and NASA.
I was prodding you with that question. I gave it to you, but I was pointing at Jose because I knew I would get under his skin by saying that. But NASA was involved.
And it is exciting.
And Comet, that's your thought. It is exciting. And it is interesting to hear like Jose's perspective on it because I hadn't heard something similar to that before.
It is because NASA was involved and it was an international, global contribution to it and effort. Yeah. So one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. Let's go for it.
Sounds good. Neil Armstrong, I vote for you. Okay, well, Jose, I'll start with you on this one as we're going around the Sony Vue.
This is a neat idea that they had. So Sony, as we know, dominates with PlayStation, the video game market. And now what they're doing is they're putting basically cable boxes in their internet. So you hook it up to the internet, and then you can forget about working with Cablevision and all those Comcast and all those other guys. They will have the channels and all the different things there. I think it's a very exciting idea. The only thing that I'm a little precautious about here is they didn't give us a price. They basically put out this pretty good idea. I mean, everybody pretty much has some sort of a gaming system, but they haven't told us how much it's going to cost per month.
Jackie, what are your thoughts? I love the idea. I was one of the early Aereo adopters. I was getting my TV from the internet until the Supreme Court ended all of that.
Oh.
But I think a la carte TV viewing is coming. I mean, I have a Roku at home, all of that stuff.
You're right. I mean, this whole thing about how we use media has been evolving, and we haven't landed on the tail of this comet yet. Mm-hmm. I mean, you're using personal media. We're all using personal media. I mean, this is part of the evolution. I say go for it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And Dr. Jackie, you're obviously a gamer, so you've got like every system there is out there. Tell us what are your thoughts about a la carte viewing on something like the Sony Vue?
I think it is a great way of communicating, and it's a great way of interacting, and it's different strokes for different folks. So I think that's something that you'd be watching and you'd want to have. You could pick it and choose it, and something that we would too.
Exactly, because I don't need 9,000 home and garden and Discovery channels.
And
although
food
Jose
channels.
wants the Discovery channels, bring me more.
channels.
Let's talk about some other stroking taking place on the windows of the World Trade Center when some scaffolding collapsed. Horrifying images. There you see some of them. Jose, what were you thinking when you saw this?
When I saw this, I was like, the most secure building on the planet, and they had to make a hole from the inside to rescue these guys. They had to cut the window to rescue these guys. I mean, you think that we would have thought of this. The engineers who built this building would have thought something like this could happen, and there'll be some very quick escape pods or something, something. Right. Would have happened, but it was so that these guys were stuck up there. That the platform was leaning at an angle, a scary angle, and they had to cut a hole in the window to rescue them.
It is interesting. It sounds primitive, but I'll tell you, as a newsman based in the New York City area for the last 30 years, that's how they get to these people who are trapped outside of buildings. They break the glass and go through the window. So it's weird, but that's how they do it. I rather a rocket pack and fly up.
Or even a parachute.
We've got 1 minute left. Your thoughts on the scaffolding?
I couldn't believe that it actually happened. That they should have had some kind of stopgap measure, and I'm just really glad it wasn't me.
Well, they had harnesses on, so they kind of did, and they did have the glass cutters. Jackie, final thought, 10 seconds.
True. I'm surprised that they didn't have a safety net underneath there. And what's even more remarkable is that one of them said, "I can't wait to continue doing it," while the other one said, "I'll never go up there again."
All right, I'm going to thank you very much. Let's say thank you to our guests. I was joined today by Jackie Guzda of Western Connecticut University, Dr. Jacquie Fulop-Goodling, who runs a medical spa in New York City, and Jose Lopez. That is it for this edition of Fresh Outlook. Jose Lopez of Seton Hall University. The TV talk show here on Ebru that does what else? It helps you keep your outlook fresh and informed. I'm Logan Crawford. Thanks for joining us.